After parking the cart up here on Saturday night after North Peloton Carnival, it's now Monday and it's time to move it over to Shepton Mallet. I will be in the cold seat tonight taking it across. It's not very often that we have to reverse the cart like this, but this is the only way that we will get out of here. The cart is still split down from Saturday night, so I have the tug and the cart, and the generator trailer is hitched up to the tractor. Because it's so dark and I have limited visibility anyway, I need extra sets of eyes to help me manoeuvre without doing any damage. And actually, we've managed to turn it round quite quickly and smoothly this year. We must have escort vehicles to travel across, so we get set up with our headset so that we can communicate, and then it's off to Shepton. I know the truck is going to scrape the ground as I head out of here, but it's the only way out, so I'm just going to have to push through. Barry and Mike stopped the traffic for me, so it gave me plenty of time to come out steadily. As I look back, I can just about see the trailer come around the corner, and the tractor and generator are following me out. The route over to Shepton does not have the best roads and are quite narrow in parts, so Barry goes out in front to slow the traffic down and get them to pull in so that we can come past. And as we head out across the Somerset levels, we also need to be aware of trees that are overhanging the road and could potentially damage the cart. Eventually, we do get to better roads and we head down the Glastonbury bypass, which is where all the carts will park after Wales Carnival for Glastonbury Carnival. We follow the road all the way out to Wales and then take the road towards Shepton. The route across from here is quite narrow in places, so the marshals are staggering the carts going through. We did meet quite a few other vehicles coming the other way as we went through, including some buses and some lorries, but we were quite lucky with where we met them, and with a bit of gentle driving we were able to pass each other and make it over to Shepton Mallet. Just before we get into the lineup for the procession on Wednesday night, we need to hitch back up so that the car is fully trained as it goes into the lineup. They unhitched the generator from the tractor directly behind me, and I just need to reverse in a dead straight line up to the generator trailer. Once we're all hitched up, we can head down to the procession lineup. We've made good time coming over and we're actually quite close to the beginning of the procession, which should be good for us for the carnival.
On a bad run over.
Cold?
It's chilly.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we met the buses and the lorries in the right places.
Yeah, to be fair,
we
wasn't too bad.
No, we got in the right places. A bit farther back or a bit farther forward, I think we'd have caught it.
Yeah.
And another lorry pulled off a tanker, pulled into the...
Yeah, I've seen that one.
Yeah, he just pulled it just
but
like that.
Then that wouldn't have been too bad if we met him
No, because he met in the same place.
So we're back down at Shepton Mallet after bringing the cart over on Monday night. It's now Wednesday and we're just getting everything ready to start procession. We've got fire extinguishers to put on, we've got harnesses to get out. Mike is going to start testing the generator and testing all the lights and moving parts, change any bulbs that need changing. I'm going to pop round and do my daily checks to make sure everything is roadworthy, which it should be because we checked when we stopped on Monday night. We're all dieselled up, so hopefully everything will run smoothly. And thank goodness for once it's dry at Shepton. To check the oil on the truck, I do it while the engine is still cold and the dipstick is in next to the driver's seat. I pull the very long dipstick right the way out and wipe it off before putting it back in and pulling it all the way out again so that I can get a true reading on the dipstick. Because this truck has been converted to make into a carnival cart, there are some things that are a little bit unusual. Originally, this truck was a normal right-hand drive, but when it was converted, the seat was moved to the middle, and that now means that the gear stick and handbrake sit on the right-hand side of the driver. And I'm pleased to say the oil level is looking good and healthy. We have some cables to reconnect after travelling over, and we also need to set out the fire extinguishers ready for procession. As you can see, where we park at Shepton, there's not a lot of room down the side of the carts to get through, especially with the overhanging trees on the other side of the road. We start to feel a little bit hungry, so we pop down to the burger van, and I bump into these guys who watch my videos.
Are you all excited about Shepton Mallet Carnival? Yeah! And what's your cart called? Well, wish you all the best of luck. And can you show me some of your dance moves?
Yeah.
Very, very good.
Ready?
Very good.
We also had some photos taken together, and it was an absolute pleasure to meet them all. And we walked back past their cart on the way back to ours. When I get back, I continue doing my checks, making sure that everything is in order. The chap who looks after our generator and tests all the circuits every carnival is called Michael Bolton, and that is his real name. A few years ago, we had a road crew captain called George Dawes, but that was not his real name. We've had a brand new sound system put on the cart this year, which we desperately needed, and a big thanks to Gemini Carnival Club for helping us out with that. All the cart personnel and road crew are turning up now, which means it's time for Alice to do my makeup. I get the engine fired up to make sure that everything is working, and to get the air built up, as because it's an older truck, it takes a little bit longer than modern trucks. And before I forget, I must fill out my daily checks, so that if something does go wrong, we have a record to say that we have done our daily checks. As it's getting close to the start of the carnival now, I get my costume on ready, and I will put my coat back on top just to keep myself warm. I also make sure that my heated seat is on. Everyone who is road crewing is here ready to go, and they get themselves set up with head mics. They will also make sure that all the personnel get on safely, and make sure that their harnesses are tight and clipped onto the cart securely. I test my head mic to make sure that everything is working correctly and everyone can hear me. Then I see Reg from the In the Doghouse podcast, as he is from Shepton Mallet, and he comes over for a selfie. And as always, the cart personnel get themselves warmed up before getting on cart, although I think Sarah's going to tell them that they need to get on cart pretty sharpish. The cart in front moves forward, so we need to get ourselves ready to start moving, and once I have the thumbs up that it's safe, I get going, and I spot Christy on the way down to Newmarket's cart. As we near the start of procession, I spot another few people that I know. The carnival hasn't even started yet, and I'm already moaning that I'm cold. I always find that my hands get really cold, so whenever I have to stop the cart, I try to sit on my hands to try and warm them up on the heated seat. We finally get to the start of procession, and it looks like there's a big turnout for a dry Shepton Mallet Carnival. Not far from the start, there is a downhill gradient right onto a roundabout. My main aim is to drive as smoothly as possible, so that it's better for the cart personnel. But sections like this can make it a little bit tricky. And down on the roundabout, we have Andy Bennett taking photos, and we have some judges. Luckily, once we get past that first bit, most of the rest of the route is quite flat. Looking at the crowd, this might be the best turnout I've ever seen for a Shepton Mallet Carnival. It's always been harder for midweek carnivals to draw the crowds, but they seem to have done a good job this year. As soon as we head past the finish, I put my coat back on. The cold seems to have really got into me tonight. At Shepton, the route goes around in one big circle, and once we reach the end of procession, we need to head back to where we started. Although when we stop for a little bit on the way round, I take the opportunity to try and get some warmer clothes on. And as I'm halfway through, the cart in front moves again, so I carry on. We need to get as far down as we can before we can get the personnel off. And finally, it's looking like this could be it. So whilst I get the personnel off, I put lots of layers on, ready to take the cart over to Wales.
We're just waiting for the procession to end. We can head over to Wales where the carnival is on Friday. And between here and Wales, they close the road so we can actually go fully trained. We don't need to split down.
All the escort vehicles are in a field over there with all the flashing lights, and as each cart goes past, the escort vehicles for that club will join them. We've had to wait where we lined up earlier so that the carnival can finish and the crowds can be dispersed before we can head over to Wales. This year must have run very smoothly because we haven't had to wait too long. As I come towards the escort vehicle car park, I can see our escort vehicle pull out in front of me, and the tractor is ready to slot in behind. Because we run fully trained over to Wales, we only need an escort vehicle at the front and one at the back, and we use the tractor as the rear escort vehicle in case of breakdowns. We head around part of the procession route while some of the street vendors are clearing away, but instead of turning right at the mini roundabout like we did in procession, we turn left. This road is completely closed to the public tonight, which means that all the carts can travel across in convoy through the narrow, winding roads and villages, whilst most people are tucked up in bed asleep. Once we reach the line-up at Wales, the marshals park us up so we're really tight to the cart in front. In previous years, we've had to watch for the trees on the right-hand side, but it looks like they've had a good cut back.
Coming over fully trained does have its advantages, and it means that there's less to do once we get to our destination, although there are a few little security things that we do just to be safe. And I also have a quick look around the car to make sure that nothing has been damaged on the way over. Everything is looking good, and we must get on out of the way of other clubs. At this point, everybody's aim is just to go home. Thanks for watching, and don't forget you can get my merch at f28print.com.